Hello everyone. So welcome all for this 4 days of Advanced to Master JavaScript workshop. So in this workshop, we're going to cover all the major advanced concepts that is required for you to understand. Like if you want to learn any other frameworks or runtime environment for the front end and back end, we're just going to these concepts are very important. So we're going to see it. So what are the concepts that we're going to cover in this workshop? This 4 days of 1 hour workshop. What we're going to cover is like we're going to cover ES6 and the concepts, the modern JavaScript. So what is modern JavaScript and what are the concepts that is there? We're going to cover that one. And once it is done, we just going to work with the asynchronous of JavaScript, and we're going to see about what are the asynchronous concepts that are available. Okay, so that's what we're going to see. Okay, so just a minute. I will check. So if you're in this live, just to give your name. Okay, so just tell your name in the live chat box. Okay, so tell your name. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so thank you for that. Yeah, that everything is perfect only. Okay, so let me get started with that. Shivani and Shravani, welcome all. Okay, Brown. Okay. So we get started with our advanced JavaScript classes, and what are the concepts that we're going to discuss as BS6 concepts and the asynchronous concept we're going to discuss. And we're not only just going to discuss about the syntax and how it is executing at all, we're going to see why it is actually needed and what is the problem that it is solving and where we can apply it in the real world. Everything that we're going to cover it up, and if possible, we will end up with a project also, if possible. Okay, so if we cover all the concept means we will end up with a project also. And whatever the doubts that you have in your doubt, okay, so if you have any doubts, so then you can tell it in the chat box while during the classes. I will reply to the chats, all the chats, whatever the chats that you are telling, like you whatever the doubts that you are asking in the chat box, I will reply to that and we can communicate through it and let us make that much more interactive. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so this is, let us show me, let me create an new folder. Okay, so here, and I just give a name as EWD workshop. So before getting into the session, I just want to tell and one more thing. Okay, so I just want to inform you on another thing also. So what does that means? Like you will get you will get an attendance form. Okay, you will receive an attendance form in each and every link at the end or in between the live. Okay, so I will share you the attendance form. If you fill the 4 days attendance form continuously, you are watching, and you filled the 4 days of attendance form, you will get an participation certificate, and also you will get notified in your LinkedIn by Navid Buswasar. He's having more number of connection in the LinkedIn, like around 27K connections with lots of HR. So you will get notified from them also. You can use that. Okay, and if you feel anything that is if you feel like this session is important and anything like that, you can just take a screenshot and you can post it in your LinkedIn, and we will communicate. We will definitely connect with you in the LinkedIn, and if you make, you also give a connect, and you can just connect with us. Okay, so that's what it is. You need to fill the 4 days attendance form continuously to get the certification attendance form. Okay, so I will share you the attendance form a bit later. Okay, so now let's go into it, and let us create a open it with this VS Code. Okay, and I just going to close down this. Okay, so the next one is what I'm going to do. Okay, so here I just going to create a folder in the name of index.html. So we need this index.html file, and I just going to create an app.js. And I think most of you are familiar with the basics of JavaScript. If you are not familiar with the basics of JavaScript, okay, so we already taken a 4 days of workshop for basics and beginner level JavaScript. Okay, so tell me if you already know about the basics of JavaScript. just type it in the chat box, basics. Okay, if you don't know the basics of JavaScript means, then this is going to be completely not understandable for you. Okay, so you need to know, the prerequisite is you need to know the basics of JavaScript. Okay, so you can watch, we already taken 4 days of workshop, even 5 days of workshop in our YouTube channel. You can see it in the live, and you can take it, and that basics course, and once it is completed, then you can watch this one. Okay, so that will be a perfect one. Okay, so if you already know some basics things, then that is fine, because it is straightly go for the advanced concept. Okay, let yeah, thank you, thank you. So let us get started. So I just mentioned this as a JS advanced. Okay, and I just going to create an action tag with JavaScript JS advanced. Okay, and let me open it with this live server. Okay, and our live server is there, and we opened it, and now I just going to link my JavaScript. Sorry, I just want to link my JavaScript with the help of script tag, and I just want to add my app.js. What is the file name that we have created? I just want to add it. So I just added it to check this. Okay, so let me do one thing. I just open my browser in Chrome. Okay, that will be much more better. Okay, and here I just right now open it with live server. See. Instead of yes browser, I just open it with here. So let me work with the inspect in the console, and we are getting an error. So this is not from our side, it's saying like that it's a fav icon error. It is not, we don't want to worry about that. We just refresh it, and right now we're just going to write console.log to check whether my file is linked or not. Okay, so I'm just going to say hello world. Let me check, it is linked. Fine. So now what is the first concept that we're going to see is in ES6. Okay, so what is ES6? ES6 is nothing but after 2015 a version of ECMAScript has been released. So that is called as modern JavaScript. A lot of methods, a lot of syntactic changes has been introduced. So among those, that is called as modern JavaScript, and these syntax and these methods are mostly used in the new libraries and frameworks that we are actually working with. Okay, so that is what ECMAScript is all about, and the ES6 is the version, ECMAScript 6th version. Okay, so it is introduced in after 2015. The first concept we're going to see is about classes. Okay, so what is classes, and why it is needed? Before that, what we need to know, actually, what is the problem that classes, what is the problem that we have, and what is the problem that classes are solving? We need to discuss that, right? So the problem is with the object. Let me see what is object first of all. And we know already, we know what is object. So object is nothing but to keep the data and the behavior in a single place. Okay. For example, I have the name of the person. Let us take like this. Okay. And I just going to mention expire is equal to, I just going to say 16 years, and role, and I just going to say CEO, like this. Okay, and here I can create a method also. So this is called as property, right? So this is called as property, that is the data of a particular object, and here we can write a method, which means a function, a behavior of that particular object, right? So here I just say employee. Okay, employee, and here how we can create a method. I can just create a method by details. I just say details, and we can create a function without a name, that means an anonymous function. Okay, like this. Okay, here we can create like this, and here I just want to say return this dot name and this dot role. Okay, that's it. And let us give a space here, like this. Let's we save this, And now let us ask me it in the console.log. What is employee? What is employee? If I ask it, you can able to see what is the object that is created, and we have all the names and the data that we have created, and you can able to see the function is created, right? So there is absolutely no problem with that, and working with this like it gives a detailed structure, and we can able to work. And what if I need to follow the same structure of an object for another employee? Okay, so what I need to do? Well, simple. We know that. Just copy and paste it. This is for employee 1. Okay, let us change like this, like this. Only the data is changing. Okay, and you can notice that one only the data is changing, right? Only the data is changing, right? Right, only the data are changing, but the structure, all the structure is same. If you execute the function in employee 1 details, okay, if I execute the function, I will get Navidus was the CEO of like this, and I just create a details here, and what I will get, I just get motion CSS tutor like this. Okay, so only the data are changing, but all other things are same. You can see the name, experience, the structure is going to be same, and the function is also exactly same. Not even a word, a data is also changed, right? So not even a simple syntax is not changed, right? It is same. So here comes the first problem. What is that? So right, every time I need to, if I want to create and replica, if I want to follow the structure, I just want to write it every time, name, experience and role, name, experience and role, name, experience and role, like that I need to write it. So here it is a simple object, we can write it. Just think about, you have a very big object and you need to replicate this for more than 20 times or 30 times, and every time you need to follow, you need to call the keys, and that is high possibilities. If you are repeating something again and again in your code, it is going to get an error. So that is the possibility. So that is called the principal code, right? So how can I avoid this? So the first problem that what we are facing is repetition. Repetition. So even though the code, even though the properties, only the values are going to be changed, the properties or the keys are going to be same, but again I'm repeating the repetition one. So that is the first problem. And what is the second problem? It is the very important problem. It is memory. So what is that? Well, you can see this function. This function is exactly same for this function. This function is exactly same for this function. Okay, so you can able to see that because of this keyword we are using it dynamically. That is not even a single, not even a single changes in the function. So what is meant by that? So it is the exactly same function, but whenever I'm creating an object, that function occupies a memory, even though they're going to be a same. Not even a single word is changed. They're going to occupy memory. Just imagine the same, the function is going to do the same work, only the data are going to change. And every time I'm create an object, if I create 20 object, 20 times the same function is going to be created in each and every object. You can see that function in detail 1 and in this detail 2. You can see here we have details, it is created in memory. Here we have details, it is created in this object. So every time an object is created, inside that the function is also created. That is not so good. Why? Because it is going to be the same function, it is going to do the same role for all the 20 function, but it is existed in all the 20 function. So it is going to take a memory in all the object. So it is going to take up the memory. And in JavaScript, the memories are limited. So what is meant by limited? Well, in JavaScript, we don't actually change anything. We don't actually go and clean the memories and work with the memories. Okay. So JavaScript do the automatic cleaning of memories. Okay. So for that purpose, we never touch it. So JavaScript do it. Okay. So for that purpose, while we are writing code, we need to care about some optimization. Okay. So something like this. So the code repetition and the same function is taking the memory again and again. So we need to take care of it. So if you don't take care of it, then what will happen? It will that will cause us to happen and memory leak. So which means your memories or get occupied, and at some point of time there is no memory to store something and else. Okay, so from the beginning itself we need to take care of it. Right now there is actually no problem, but we need to consider this as a problem because we don't know in future in TWD if there is 200 employees is there, what happens for 200 employees, the same function is going to take up the memory. And just think about if there is not only a single detail function, the method is going to be in the function. If we are going to add around 10 to 20 functions, some extra function, every 20 function is going to be existed in all the 200 methods. Then think about the memory of JavaScript, what it is going to happen, right? So that is the one thing, that we need to check into it. Okay, so let's see how we can able to see that. Okay, how we can able to see how can we solve this problem. First one is the repetition of code, second one is the memory. Okay, so let us go, and the first thing happen is factory function. So what is meant by factory function? That's simple. A function is act like a factory to create an object. Simply a function is that, and I just going to say create object. Okay, so what this is going to do, it is going to take some parameters. So what are the parameters going to take is name, age, I just say name, not age, name, experience, and I just want to say role. Okay, so these three things it is going to take, and it is going to return. Okay, it is going to return an object. You can see it is returning an object, and here I am saying if someone calls the name, okay, so return the name of the object like this. And if someone calls an experience, okay, return whatever the experience that you have given. Okay, the next one is if someone calls the role, and just call the role of it like this. You can give a different name for your parameter, that is up to you. So now what can I do? I just going to say const employee. Let me come out of this one. So now we understand the problem. This is the two problems that we need to clear off. So I just going to say const employee is equal to, okay, I just going to say create object, create obj, and here you can give whatever the name you want to give. I just say Nagadu, and here I just going to say 16, and here I just going to say CO. This is going to be the role. Okay, right, something like this. And if I ask what is employee in this console.log, I save it. Now if I ask it what is employee, you can see we get this object, and that is having all the things. And but here we can notice it, we are not repeating the codes. You're not repeating the code. So what is happening? We created it in a function, and the function is going to create an object for us. So if I want to create another object, simple, I can create like this. It is going to be employee one, and here I just going to say like this two, and I just going to say CSS Q. If I save it and ask for what is employee one, and you will get it. So we are not repeating the code. So this code is lies only, we're just going to write only once in a function, and we are going to change the parameter. So what is happening? This parameter is taken by this, this argument is taken by this parameter, and those parameter value is go and add inside an object. And whenever someone calls this new object, this return is going to return as an object with the dynamic data that we have created. So this way we can able to create n number of object. But here there is the repetition is solved. Here the repetition is solved, but here still there is a problem is there. So what is the problem? The function. So the function is created in each and every object, right? So if I want to create a function, then I want to create inside only. So if, for example, I just say details, and I just want to write a function, and I just want to say return this dot name like this, and I just want to return this dot role like this. And if I save it, now you can see if you call each and every object, whatever the object that you're going to create, still it is going to occupy, it is in the memory only. So there is no difference in the memory space. Okay, so there is no difference. You can see the detail function is still here, the detail function is still here. So likewise, there is no memory occupation is there, right? So we need to take care of it. Right now we have get rid of this one, the repetition code that we write for each and every time. We just removed it. But what for this function? This is the main cause that I want to get rid. So how can I remove? How can I work with this one? Okay, let's see this. How can we remove this one? Just a minute. Okay, let me see that. Okay, so now what we're going to do? We're going to work with the next upgradation. So instead of factory function, we're going to work with the constructor function. So what is this constructor function? Well, the constructor function is also like a function, like a factory function. So it is also going to do the exactly the same thing. Okay. So let me see how can we create a constructor function. Okay. And then how factory function is solved our repetition problem. How factory likewise how this is also going to solve a problem. Let me see that. Okay. So for creating a constructor function, you just want to call a function. Okay. For creating constructor function, you need to mention it in caps letter. Okay, so function name it is in caps letter. So I'm just going to say employee. Okay, and here I just going to say whatever the name, and you need the role. Yes, I just want the XP, and I just want the role of the person. Okay, so these things I just wanted. And here the constructor function is going to be built differently. So I will tell why the constructor, because with the help of this constructor function only, we're going to get rid of this memory. So before that, whatever the problem we already solved is repetition. So how this is solving this? So here I can going to say this dot name. Let me explain what I'm writing. This is equal to name, and here I can write this dot expir equal to expir this dot role equal to role. Okay, so now let us be I just going to say const let us say employee equal to, here we need to use the new keyword, and I just going to say employee. Here I just going to write like this JavaScript. And now okay, so let us make this the employee one, and here I just going to say console.log. Let me explain what I have written. No problem, worries. Okay, I just going to say console.log employee one. Let me save it. You can see we're still getting this object. So likewise, what we can do means we can just simply create a number of objects. How factory function is work for us, a function that is written same like the word here it is giving, but it is constructor function. So what exactly it is doing? Well, constructor function is used to construct something. So whatever we are working with, the string and number and everything is constructed by a default constructor function. So in JavaScript, we have a default constructor function, and that with the help of that constructor function only, if I write a string, it is able to convert it as a string, and it can able to understand a string, and we can able to access some string methods, right? So that is happening because of this constructor functions only. And right now we going to create our own constructor functions because of my own functionality. So what I'm doing, I just created a function. The constructor function, it is always good to mention it with the caps letter to differentiate it from the normal function. Okay, so that is why I differentiated here. And here I'm saying this dot name equal to name. So here I mentioned this. So can anyone tell what is the keyword, like where this refers to? So in here, this refers to what? Can anyone tell in the chat box? If anyone knows the answer, can anyone tell it in the chat box? So, or you can just simply consider like if you declared a function, okay? So simply you created a function. Okay, it is going to say cc. This is going to be the function name, and it is going to return this. So what does this keyword refer to? Can anyone tell what this keyword refers to? If you know, if you watch the basics of JavaScript, you can able to understand this one. What it is refers to? Current class is calling. Like, yeah, we come to that one. So this one, like inside a function, if this keyword is refers to, if you create this keyword inside a function, what this refers to? Let me check it in the console.log. What does this refers to? Current update. Like everyone is telling the answer for this one. I'm asking for here. Inside a function, okay, inside a function, I created this keyword. Okay. So what is the place, like what is this keyword refers to? Well, I will explain it. So this is the only keyword that is dynamic. So what is meant by dynamic? Well, in everything in JavaScript is a lexically scoped, which means where you declared, okay, where you declared a variable, where you declared a function, where you declared a variable, where you declared a function. Based on that, okay, your scope is determined. Okay, so based on that only your accessibility is determined in JavaScript. Okay, but this is the only keyword. This is the only keyword. It refers, it is that, which means it refers to the place where it is. Yes, Sivani, you got it correct. So this refers to a global object, which means this keyword is always refers to where it is invoked, not the place where it is declared. Okay. So now this is invoked inside a function, and this function is inside a global object. Okay, it is inside a global object. So that this is refers to the global object. So you can see that if I just go for this console, you can see the Windows object is referred, right? So this is what global object, and in this is the global object, and inside that you can able to see what is the function that you have created, cc. You can see this function is inside this global object, so it is refers to that global object. Okay, so whatever the variable, whatever the function that you are creating globally, okay, it will go and store inside the Windows object. It will go and store inside the window object. Okay, so that window object is called as the global object. Okay, so in normal case, if you declared a function inside, if I say this dot something, so it is go for the Windows object, and it is go inside that, and it will check for something to it. Okay, it gets something to it. That's what it will do. Okay, same thing. What is happening here? Let me look into here now. Let me look into here. So here, this is also a function. Okay, inside a function, I used this keyword. So now, where it is refers to, where it need to refers to, same like that here, right? So it need to refer to the global object, right? So it needs to refers to the global object. But here, because of this new keyword, we are using this new keyword, right? So this new keyword is going to change the scope of the this. Okay, instead of the this keyword refers to the global object, it is going to refers to this employee. So the variable that is creating that particular that calling the constructor function, it is going to change the scope to that one. So in normal case, if you are declaring a keyword inside a this, you are declared the keyword, this keyword inside a function, it is going to refers to the global object. But here, because of this new keyword, this is changing the this scope to this normal, the variable that is constructing it. So now that this keyword refers to the employee one. So you can able to see this one here. I just going to say console.log. What is this? Okay, what is this? I simply writing, and here let us open it. You can see that this refers to employee, and once if someone calls it, so right now it refers to the employee class, normal class, and once someone gives a value, and it is refers to that particular value that is called, so that's we have created, so it is refers to the this class, right? So but if you don't use a new keyword, you will get an error. normally it is refers to an Windows object. You can see now the scope of this is refers to the Windows object. But if you use new keyword, so what is the new keyword is doing here? It is changing the scope of this keyword, changing the scope of this keyword to Windows object instead of like instead of changing that it right now it is in Windows object by basically it is right now it is changing to this constructor function, and it is referring to the object that is creating the constructor function. Now if I call it, you can see it is employee. So make sure that while you are using a constructor function, you need to use this new keyword, because this new keyword is has the capacity to change the scope of this keyword. Okay, so that's what it is doing here. So now what is happening here, we created new keyword, right? So this new keyword is changing the scope to this employee, that or the particular variable that is calling this constructor function. Okay, so it is refers to it. You can see that it is a normal employee, and here what we are telling, this dot name is nothing but employee one dot name equal to name. What is the name is going to be head, and employee one dot experience is equal to 3, and employee one dot role is equal to JavaScript tutor. Okay, so now an empty object is created. You can see an empty object is created, and inside this empty object, each and every argument that we are giving, it is go to the parameter and it is going to be work on it. So this is how the constructor function will work. Okay, this is how the constructor function will work, and with the help of it, we can able to create n number of object. Like how the factory function is work, we can able to create it. But what happened to the what happened to this method, what happened to this method, right? So we need to get rid of the memory. So what has happened to that? So for example, if I say this dot detail, okay, I like this details equal to a function, okay, and that is return this dot name like this. And if I save it, you can see that the detail function is created. And if I created another object, create another object with the experience 2, and here I just make this to Mosum like this. And if I save it, now if I ask for employee 2, now what is this? You can see here also the detail is created. So I can rid of this repetition. Now I need to rid of this repeated function. How can I do that? How can we do that one? Well, here we have something called as prototype. So instead of adding the function to, sorry for that. Okay, sorry for that. Global object go sources hosting shows debugging properly. Debugging. Dhruv, can you repeat your message again? I will let you know that what is your messages. Okay. So what I going to do is like we have created a constructor function, right? So how we can able to stop this memory occupation. So instead of adding memory it in the object, what we can do is we can able to add our function inside this prototype. You can see we have inside this prototype, it is telling that a constructor function is there, and it is constructing, the name of the constructor function is employee, and it is having some parameter and it is doing some work. So what is happening here is, well, the constructor function is nothing but we created a function, right? So this is what our constructor function. So this constructor function is creating the objects. So simply this is the prototype, so which means a blueprint. Okay, so it is going to be helpful. It is just used to create this objects. Okay, so that's what happening. So it is telling that, so now what I can do is I can simply, instead of adding this keyword here, instead of adding the function here, instead of that I can able to add it in the prototype. So what will happen if I add it in the prototype? So if I add it in the prototype, then that is created for only once. Okay, it is created for only once. It is not going to be executed in each and every object. So once the prototype is created, in my memory, during that time a method is created, a method will be created. Okay, so during that time the method will be created, and after that it will not create it. Okay, after that it will not create it, but we can able to access it. So now what my responsibility is, I just want to send my function to this prototype. So if I send the function to the prototype, then what will happen, it will be in the prototype, and whenever I want, whatever the function it is, whatever the object that wants this function, it just go and access it. But it is created in the memory for only once. Okay, it's like a separate state we have done, and we can able to use it. Okay, how can we do it? Simply, for that we need to call this employee. Just say employee. Okay, and you need to type prototype. You can see this prototype. Okay, and here you need to tell what is the one thing that you're going to add it. So I'm just going to say details is the function that I want to add it, and it is going to be a function, and I just want to add the function, and here I just say this dot return, someone calls it, this dot return the name of the function. And now if I save this function, you can able to see that the detail function is not in the object memory. You can see the detail function is not in the object memory, but in prototype, if I go here, you can see the detail function is added, and the constructor function, so which is used to help this function, it is added here. So now it is in the prototype. It is in the prototype, which means while this constructor function is created, it is added to the prototype. But now whenever we want, it is created only once in the memory, and whenever I want for any object, I can able to access it. How? Simply we can call it like details. And if I ask for it, you can able to see the first person name details it is giving, and if I ask for the details of this one, and you can able to get access to the second person name. So what is happening, so it will look for it. So when we are working with this object, so the object is look for anything that detail is available in my memory or not. If no method is found, then what it will happen means it will go for top of the prototype, which means who constructed the function, who constructed this object, it will go top to that object, and it will check for it if the object is available or not. Okay, so if that particular function is available, then it will add it to it. And with the help of this prototype, we can able to change the JavaScript default prototype also. So the date prototype, string prototype, number prototype, everything we can able to change it. Okay, but we can able to change it, but we should not do that. Why? Because we need to change only the constructor function with only the prototype we created. We need to change like this, not the default JavaScript prototype. If we started to change like that, then obviously we will end up with some errors and unexpected errors. It will be go through it. Okay, so this is how we will get solve it. Okay, okay, so you're asking it for doing it in the debugger, but the thing is here we are not working with the execution. So it is not something like explaining about hoisting, or it is not something about explaining about where the scope, where it is go and everything is stored like that. Here we are working with the prototype. So prototype is something that is defaultly available in JavaScript, which means the global object. Okay, so if I put the debugger, nothing is going to be happen. So we are not able to see anything. Okay, so it will execute as simply as possible. Okay, because this is not going to execute in our to us. Okay, it is going to be added to the main functionality. It is not going to be that. How to make a shopping cart in JavaScript? It will the project section, mini project, the pages, like in we have a JavaScript project, and in that project section we have make so many of cards. You can visit that. This is advanced to master class, so sorry for that, please focus on that. Okay, so it's global with lexical. Okay, so the first thing is we cannot see this prototypes in our debugger. Okay, first thing is why? Because it is not something like we going to see. So even this problem, and this is the problem that we are going to create it, no one is telling that. Okay, so they will tell that this is a constructor function, you just want to create this constructor function to create an object. That's what they will say. And if you put a debugger inside it and you just started to show each and every step, nothing is going to happen, because nothing will show it for you, because it is not like hoisting. Like if it is in memory allocation, or if it is in that something related to execution, we can able to debug it and we can able to see each and every step. Okay, so but it is prototype, think about that. Okay, okay, so how to grow or not? Okay, let me do one thing, let me show you a demo for it. So it is not like something a global variable or global thing that we have created. It is, we are working with prototypes, guys. I will do one thing. Let me create and think here. All the global variable, all the hoisting and everything will be shown here. Okay, but okay. So let me do one thing. I will show you this prototype. Okay. Now I will show you this one to the prototype, and I will ask you to execute in the console also. Okay, I will put the debugger. Now I just going to start run the code. Okay, okay, so right now we are in debugger. Okay, okay, so we are in debugger. So let's see that we can able to see this scope. You can able to see the scope. So what is scope? A scope is nothing but where the variables, the global variables and the constructor is going to be created. So here you can able to see script. So this is called as block level scope. When you create a scope with let and const, you can able to see the script, a special scope is created. So this is where the let and const variable is going to be stored. And when you create it in a global scope, you can able to show it here. Okay, so here where you find the prototype, let me tell you. I just go one step down, and right now I constructed a constructor, this constructor function. You can see the jump, right? So what has happened? A prototype is constructed. Now if I go for the next line, that's it. It is go and jump it. Now it is constructed. So you can only able to see the variables and the hoisting concept and everything in the debugger and the snippet and everything. You are not able to, so you are not supposed to see the prototype and how the prototype is created, whether the prototype is added to it or not. We are not able to see it. Only we can able to see the scope and call stack, how the code is executing, and we can able to see the DOM listeners, global listeners, and everything we can able to see. How can we see this prototype in your constructor? That is what I am saying. You can able to view your global variable, your everything in this code. But here we are working with prototypes. How to add and how to add a method, how to add a details to the prototype. So where I can see that here, we can able to see that only in the console while executing it. Okay. Okay. It is not a function. First of all, this is not a function. It is constructor function. It is used to construct an object. It is not like a normal function to create an object and everything and like that. Okay. So if you want to see that function, and there is no use to work with this one and telling that. Okay. So if I go for global function, and you can able to see this what employee that we have created. This is the constructor function that we have created. So just simply I'm showing that this is the constructor function we have created. So right now it is in the global scope. No use of it. Okay. Try to understand the concept that what we are teaching here. Okay. Okay. So what is the problem that we have is the two things. One is repetition and one is memory. In JavaScript, the memory is limited, which means we need to take care of the memory. And every time we are creating a function inside an object, the memory is get occupied. Okay. So that is why what we are doing, we are adding things to the prototype. We are adding things to the prototype. And once I added the function to the prototype, this prototype will not be this function is created only once in the prototype. This function only created only once in the prototype, and whenever we want, we can access it for each and every object. Okay, so that is the problem that the prototype is get solved. Okay, so that's what this constructor function. That is why the constructor function is used for it. Number one, and number two is classes. Then what is the use of classes? Well, in other programming language, classes is actually an actual thing, right? So it is used to create, like someone says the entity to create an object. Yes, so classes is an actual concept that with the help of this classes we can able to create n number of objects. Okay, so you can able to create it. But in JavaScript is not an class based object oriented programming language. Okay, so JavaScript in classes is just an syntactic sugar. Remember that. Okay, so just a syntactic sugar. Classes is not an actual concept in JavaScript. You can type it in Google, JS class JavaScript, like this, and you will get a neat explanation here somewhere. JavaScript is not a class-based object-oriented programming language, but it can still, there is a base that we can use object oops concept inside JavaScript. So what is mean by not a class-based object-oriented programming language? The person who created Brendan Eich, he made it purposely that JavaScript, there is no classes. So he created JavaScript with no classes, which means in JavaScript, there is no concept of classes, but we have classes, just a syntactic sugar of prototypal inheritance. So instead of using this kind of syntax, employee.prototype.details, so this may, it is for some people it is really big, and using a prototype it is not that good, because we can in by default, like by mistake we can able to change the default prototype of a function also. So that is also happened. So that is why what we are having classes. So with the help of classes, we can able to do the exactly the same functionality. We can able to stop the repetition, and also we can able to come up with adding things in the prototype without using this kind of keywords like prototype the dash dash dot proto, like that. We don't want to use it. We just simply avoid this. So it's just a syntactic to go in class in JavaScript. Okay, so even the Brendan Eich, he himself accepted that he made it purposely JavaScript without a class is not a class based programming language. Okay, so how can we create this? Simply you need to type class and tell employee. So it is going to do exactly the same thing what the prototype is did. It is going to do the same thing. And here I just going to say, sorry, so we don't want this one. Okay, so here we have a default function to construct it. So here the constructor function, we created it. Okay, so here we're going to have a constructor function, and this is used to construct our properties. Okay, so let me take only two properties like name and role, like this. Okay, and here you can type the same thing, this dot name equal to name, and here I can say this dot role equal to role. Okay, and here you can do the same thing. I just say const equal to new employee, and I just going to give just give the name. Just use the console.log employee 1. Okay, you can see it is created. Now if I want to create a method, we need to, what we need to do, we need to create it in a prototype. Instead of adding here, if I add it, it will create in all the object. If I add it in prototype, it will create only once. But I don't like the syntax, so what can I do? Simply here you can add it like details like this, and here you can say return this dot name. Okay, so this dot name, and here if I ask for employees, now it is created. You can look for the prototype, it is automatically added to the prototype of a function. So we don't want to use this employee dot prototype dot details equal to functions, and okay, like that you don't want to write it. You can simply use the syntactic sugar of classes. So classes is not an actual thing in JavaScript. It's just a syntactic sugar which help us to achieve this prototypal concept and also work with the prototypal inheritance. Okay, so we haven't worked with the prototypal inheritance. We just going to work with the prototype. What is prototypal inheritance in the next class? So today we have discussed about what is prototype and what is the problem that classes is solving. The first thing is we have repetition, and the second thing is we need to save the memory. So for that, I just, if I want to create a repeated function that is created in all the object, then I want to add it to the prototype. So we can able to achieve it with this constructor function, and we can create a property, and we can add it with the help of this prototype keyword. We can add it in the prototype of it. But this is not, this is good only, we can use it, this also you can get it. But in ES6 they have introduced classes. Classes is not an actual thing in JavaScript. It is not an actual concept, just a syntactic sugar for prototypal inheritance. With the help of this, we can able to achieve the same what is the constructor function is do. We can able to achieve it with simple syntax. That's what it is. So the constructor function is used to construct our object. Okay, so whatever the object that I want to do, you can construct it, and here you can mention it whatever the method that you want to tell, and whatever the extra things that you want to add it, that it should be common for all the object that you're going to create to save the memory. You can add it here. So while this classes is created, everything will be created in that space. Okay, so that's what the classes will do. Sure, Shivani, I will explain the prototype again. Okay. Okay. Simply, so why we used this prototype is, so what is the issue that I want to solve? So the issue I want to solve is, here we have the repeated code while we are writing it, that we need to write the keys every time, right? So I need to solve that one. We achieved it with the factory function also. Now we have the constructor function, we achieved that, that's also. But when I add a function to it, each and every time an object is created, a special memory, a memory is also created for function. I need to stop that. Okay, I need to stop that. So for that, what I'm doing, instead of adding function in all the object, okay, instead of adding function in all the object, I'm adding function to the function, to the constructor who is creating that object, to the prototype who is creating this object. Simply let us consider you have a machine and the machine is constructing some object. Okay, so instead of creating, instead of adding that particular method to all the object, I'm adding that object to the machine. Okay, so like I'm adding the particular function method to that prototype. So now it is in the prototype, which means it is in the core place. So who is creating the object, it has the method. Okay, so whenever, now it is created only once. Okay, so the memory is saved. And whenever an object wants it, whenever an object wants the method, okay, you just go and get the method. It can go and get the method. Okay, so it can use it like this. So in this way, this method is created only once. So even I created like 10,000 object. So this method is created in memory for only once. And for all the 10,000 objects, we can able to get access for it because it is the prototype. It is created that. So we always have access to the prototypes, methods, and everything. We can access it. Okay, so that is what prototype is doing. So employee is the constructor function that is constructing our object. So this is the object, and here I'm saying for that prototype. Okay, so for that employee prototype, add my a function called details and add the function this one. So return this dot name. So if someone executed that, this is a dynamic one. It is always refers to the function that is the property of. So here it is the function that is the property of employee one. So this refers to this employee one. So whenever you want it, you can able to access it from the prototype like this. You can able to access it. So likewise, what you can do, you can save the memory. You can able to save the memory. So instead of you created a normal object, you want to create the function in all the object. So that will cause the memory leak, and it will causes the like we are not able to save the memory. So in this way we can able to save the memory. But here the classes is an easy way to write that. So instead of writing employee dot prototype dot details and going for the prototype and accessing with that, it is good only. We can able to work with this also. There is absolutely no problem. But here several things that we need to focus on. So that is why here we are using classes. So classes, in other programming language, there is an actual concept called classes that is used to create an object. But here classes is also used to create an object, but it's not a separate concept for classes. It's just a syntactic to go for this function prototype. Okay, so it's just a syntactic to go for this prototypal inheritance. Okay, so that is what it is doing simply. Okay, so here we don't want to write the prototype and everything. Simply whatever the constructor function is doing. Okay, so whatever the constructor function is doing, the constructor function is constructing our data and property, and this detail function, whatever the method that you want to add to your prototype, you can able to add it. How you help in jobs after your bootcamps went site, but there is no info in new batches. So actually there is the new batches. I will share you in WhatsApp group. You can communicate with the Nabidu Biswasa regarding that. Okay, so we have right now we are a batch is going on. Okay, so it is the next batch is going to take after 15. Okay, so after April 15, I think so. So after that you can join it. Let me do one thing. Let me cut it down. Okay, so just a minute, I will share you the attendance form, today's attendance form. Can you place in indoor startups? Indoor. I think Nabidu Biswa sir is having offline bootcamp also for indoor. He conducted so many methods. Okay, so there is no age criteria for you. Like even you have so much of gaps, you can okay, you can able to join it. So much of people is already joined. Let me do one thing. So first I will share the attendance. Okay, so this is the attendance form. Please fill the attendance form, those who all are joined, first one. And second one is I will share you a group link around 150. Okay. Okay, so this is WhatsApp group link. If you want to join, if you want to communicate with for any further details, you can directly communicate with WT Biswasa. So you can join the group and you can ask the question. There will be an team helper will be there, and he will be explain about what the things that you want to do, and you can work with and everything. So basically, please make one video on same who can join and how can join, and please also, and yes, that is why like in each and every workshop, in Saturday workshops, that we will tell about how can join and how can you do that and everything we will tell that. Basically it is very simple. Once you like if you want to be on guidance pay, that once you entered into that, Nabidu Biswa sir will take you to the entire, and he will have an orientation class and he will tell about everything about your the boot camps and everything. So we will give you each and every assignments during the class completion. For example, JavaScript completion, we will give you an assignment. React completion, we will give you an assignment. So if you completed all the assignments, then Nabidu Biswa sir will help you to get through. Like he will help you the job assistant in the way, and he will help you to get through in placement and everything. He will help you to. So the core DWD team will take care of that. So once you completed, you can join the WhatsApp group and you can ask all your doubt, and there Nabidu Biswa sir will help you regarding that. Okay. Where you have shared the details, not able to see it in the chat. What is the details? Like I shared the WhatsApp group. I can any you can able to see the form to fill, right? You can able to see the form that is the attendance form. So that is the one thing I shared, and second one is a group to join to the WhatsApp group. Okay, so a link to join to the WhatsApp group. Add-on section on freelancing. Drew Sharma, like yeah, we have it. I think previously it is taken. So right now it is packed. The timing is packed. So we have a little bit strict timing. You will get to with the upcoming months. You will get it. So please material. Do Sama, like whatever, like if you have any doubts with placements and everything, you can join the WhatsApp group and you can tell it in the chat box regarding the course and everything. Nabidi Biswa sir will just guide you. Okay, because the placement is going to be is taken care fully by the core team, TW team. Okay, you can join the WhatsApp group and you can ask me. You can ask there. Okay, so people, there is a separate person. Each and every group there is an admin will be there, and they will guide you separately. Okay, so you will get self-placed also, and you will get the mentoring. Lifetime mentoring is also available. It depends upon each and every batch. Okay, so we are selecting. Yes, recording. We will take live classes, and also we will provide the recording also, and you will get access to all the course resources that is done by TWD also. Okay. Every day we will take live classes. Okay, so for a personal batch, and once it is done, we will provide the recording either in Google Drive or some other place. We will provide the recording also, and also we will provide some access to our course also. We will give it. So I don't see any link in the chat. Shivani, if possible, can you join it in the WhatsApp group? Because sorry, it is in the. Can you join it in the YouTube? Because I shared it. I don't know whether it is right now. Also, I shared it. I think people you can able to see it or not. So I shared it in the chat. Okay. So if you have it, you can join it. Okay. Right now I shared it. Join with here. Okay. You can just join it. Yeah, just try to try to connect it in try to connect it in the YouTube. If you get this live chat is also enabled. If you get the link, join the link. Okay, so or else you can just go for Nabidu Business link. You can able to see a WhatsApp group to join. You that will be there. I think so. You can just get it in Nabidu Business profile. You can get that. Okay, you can ask me there also. You will get it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, guys, thank you all. Today we completed with classes, and tomorrow we will see classes inheritance, and we will discuss it. Okay, so whatever the concept that we are taking, we are providing the utmost things to explaining. Okay, so whatever the what are the possible ways is there to explaining you, I will explain you. I will use debugger, I will use the snippet and everything. I will explain you. Okay, so don't prejudges like it is that and this is that, here explain, there explain, whatever it possible it will be explained. Okay, Dhruv Sharma, that is what I'm saying. I don't know the exact thing about placement. Okay. So if you join it in the WhatsApp group, there will be a person, he will guide you to that. Okay. So that's much more better regarding the TWT. Okay, regarding TWT. But we have mentoring. You will be going to have a live section, and also that live section classes will be recorded, also it will be provided. And right now there is batch is also batch, current batch is going, the backend concept is going for the current batch, and you will get the batch details and information. It's going to happen after April 15 only. Okay, if you join the WhatsApp group, ask all your doubt there. There will be an person will be there, and he will guide you to the entire thing. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay. So thank you all.